Welcome to the Jaffna Peninsula. Alright, so day 2 exploring the Jaffna Peninsula. Just to give you a quick rundown of the plan today, we're going to be exploring the wider Jaffna Peninsula. So we should be going to the most northern point in Sri Lanka, and then checking out all of the old forts and learning more about the history of this region around Jaffna. And then later we'll end the day in Jaffna city itself. And it is Memorial Day today, or Victory Day. It's the 18th of May, which is the day the Tamil Tigers were defeated in 2009. So about 30 minutes north of the city itself. And there's some archaeological sites around here. And we've just come to this pagoda, the Kadurugoda Ancient Vihara. It's the ruins of a Buddhist temple. But outside you can see these signs saying Buddhists and Hindus united, live united. So these are the pagodas, or the archaeological remnants of the pagodas dating back to at least the 2nd century BC. Danushka says, and this has obviously been while the two religions, Buddhism and Hindu, have largely coexisted on the island for centuries, or millennia even. In recent times, this was obviously a scene of conflict between the Tamils and the Sinhalese, who largely have different religions.
From ancient time, Sri Lanka was a Buddhist country. First kingdom, Anuradhapura, dating back to 6th century BC up to 12th century AD, is our first kingdom. And in that time, there was a Buddhist temple here. So it's the historical evidence that Buddhists were occupied this place. In the 12th century, there was an invader, we call it the Sangili II, and he was in this place. And he introduced Hinduism. And at that time, the two religions coexist without any trouble. Sangili II was defeated by the Portuguese. In 1505, Portuguese came here and this place was abandoned. And in 1970, the governor of this area refound this place, and he started to slowly excavate these ruins, these pagodas you can see. We need some topic, as I told you earlier, for the civil war time. So Tamils claim that they are the owners of this land. So for Buddhists, we say from the 19th century or from the 200 BC, we were here. So it is to make the tension between the two ethnic groups. So anyway, these are our ancient historical ruins. So we have to preserve these places and give respect to each other, to coexist with peace and harmony. I assume you saw a poster out at the gate. It says Hindus and Buddhists are united. You have to be united and coexist. And that is the brief history about this place.
Claire's making friends with the locals. We made it to the northern shores of the Jaffna Peninsula. India is somewhere behind me. I'm not sure how many miles, but not that far. And we've just been checking out what there is to do on the coastline here. I don't think many tourists make it here because we've been cordoned off by the local families who are here on the weekend, and they're all taking pictures and selfies with us, particularly with Claire. And you can see this glorious coastline stretches for miles east and west, and then to the north you've then got the Indian subcontinent. It's Sunday and there's a lot of families here, and they're all using the bathing pools over there. And the bathing pools apparently have some religious significance, and not just religious significance, but also some sort of healing, therapeutic qualities as well. So everyone's sort of enjoying this bath on a Sunday, which isn't a bad idea.
Are you from Jaffna? Yes. One more? Yes, of course.
One more.
Nice to meet you. Lovely to meet you. Lovely to meet you.
Claire has turned into a bit of a minor celebrity here. She's being, everyone's taking pictures of her. Hello. Oh, hi. All right, now we're all getting a selfie. Hello. What's your name? Visi. Nice to meet you. You're from Jaffna? Yeah, it's a nice place. Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Nice to meet you. So these are the bathing pools that line the seafront. Right, now I think we're going to be exploring some more of the coastline and then heading to Jaffna City again at some point to see it properly in the daylight. But Danushka was telling us as well, this whole area, the Jaffna Peninsula in 2004, I think, was also hit by the tsunami. The Boxing Day tsunami, which ravaged the Indian Ocean. A lot of Sri Lanka was devastated by it. And yeah, it's just astounding the amount of conflict and then natural disasters that this beautiful place has unfortunately gone through. Just a short walk back from the beach as well. There's a ruined Hindu temple. Well, the front of it's ruined anyway. But we're really here for the ice cream.
Hi. Can you have an ice pop? Yeah.
Ice pop?
What flavour?
Maybe pineapple.
Pineapple? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Pineapple or mango, I don't know.
Oh, mango is good. Yeah. How much?
150.
150.
No, only 50.
Oh, 50. So 50.
50.
Oh, 50 total. Oh, 50 each.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. This is a 50 rupee ice cream from the ice cream man. Oh, wow. Incredibly sweet. But for about 10 pence. You can't really complain. So we just stopped on the side of the road, this little hut, this farmer's hut, and they've got these palmyra trees growing all around, and they use the fruit of the palmyra to make a toddy, which is like a local homebrew. It's basically like a Sri Lankan moonshine. So we're gonna check out the little factory they got here and give it a taste. I think he said it's killing. So this is the homebrew moonshine. Incredible, you can smell the yeast of fermentation. It's distilled in these plastic industrial sized barrels. So this is the hooch, the moonshine, served up in a plastic cup. Cheers. Oh, some fizzy, fermented. It tastes a bit like old socks. It's drinkable. Alright, so this is the Fort Hammenheil Resort. Apparently, according to Danushka, it's run by the Sri Lankan Navy, who presumably needs to make a bit of money on the side. But we're going to take a boat now across to the actual fort, which is on a little rocky islet. I think it was built by the Portuguese or the Dutch. So yeah, rather bizarrely, this whole Fort Hammenheil area is basically a Navy zone. But the Navy, who control the area, have also branched out into a little bit of a hotel and resort and tourist experiences. They run boat trips from here all across the sort of Jaffna Peninsula and archipelago. There's loads of islands you can get to. You can take boats to Delft Island. They're going to take us over on a boat to Fort Hammenheil, which I'll show you in a second, which sits just, it's maybe 100 meters away actually. It's very close. So this is the old Portuguese/Dutch fort. Rather curiously, they were also advertising a Dutch prisoners experience for tourists, where you can presumably spend the night in some of the old prison cells from the colonial era and experience what it was like to be a prisoner under the rule of the colonial Dutch. Not sure how much said experience costs, but it could be an interesting one if you've got a spare night to spend on the Jaffna Peninsula. This looks like a little navy patrol boat they've kitted out for tourists. All the life jackets. They're sporting this rather fashionable Sri Lankan navy life jacket. Alright, it's a quick 3-minute boat ride and we're now at Fort Hammenheil. It's very colonial. It's made from coral. Coral blocks. So these, this is like the dormitory. So I think this is the Dutch prisoner experience where you could spend the night in the fort. Yeah, you can see the Dutch ramparts of the Dutch fort, looking out across Jaffna Lagoon, and then the peninsula is that way. Alright, so we made it back to Jaffna city centre, and we come to this place. This is Jaffna Public Library, and it was one of the cultural prides of the Tamil community up here on the Jaffna Peninsula. However, in 1981, a Sinhalese mob actually burned this place completely to the ground, and with it all the books that were stored inside. The attack was 2 years before the Sri Lankan Civil War officially began, but it was one of the many sort of incidents caused by the tensions between the two communities that then led, of course, to all-out war that went on for decades after that. But in 2001, the library was rebuilt, and you can see it now behind me, and hopefully we can get a little peek inside. So we can't really film inside, unfortunately. I'm not sure what the scale of the previous library was like before they built this one in 2001. There's a couple of floors here, lots of reference books and areas for working, etc. It's all very quiet, peaceful in there. So the time of its burning, there were 97,000 books minimum in this library. It was the largest library in South Asia and certainly the largest library in stocking Tamil books. So it really was an attack on their culture, on their language, on their history, their past. This is the entrance to Jaffna Fort. Alright, so we're now in Jaffna Fort, which dates back to the 17th century. Like the fort we saw earlier, it was also built by the Portuguese, and then the Dutch came along, took it over from their Portuguese enemies, and then a century or so later the British came along and claimed it for themselves. Now the Portuguese originally built this sort of first section behind me like a small fort, but then when the Dutch took it over and started fortifying it, they built this huge sort of star fort, probably the height of European engineering at the time. So when you walk through this first gate, you kind of find yourself still trapped between the two walls. So even if the enemy made it over the first wall, you then find yourself here, where there's a moat then separating you from the actual central section of the fort. So there's layer upon layer of defences here. So Jaffna Peninsula must have been a prized possession for the European colonial powers. I imagine because it was such a strategic point with access to spice trade routes, the Silk Road, when you get to India, and all of the Indian Ocean. This is the second gateway. It says Anno 1680.
You can see like all the rubble there. Yeah. Most of them are, because there was a church there, it was destroyed. Wartime, it was affected as well. You can see the walls, but there are bullet marks.
As I was fighting here.
Yeah.
I was fighting here.
Yeah. Before the government the army was captured the city.
Yeah.
The LTTE, they are the ones who were ruling this place.
Yeah.
So then the government army captured the city. Then it was, fine. This area was fine. There was no war then. Because nobody attacked them.
When did the government retake the city, Jaffna, from the Tamil targets?
As soon as the war was started in the 80s.
Yeah.
So in 90s, they
Oh, in the
captured.
90s.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Right. So for most of the Civil War,
Most
it
of
was
civil wars
under government control.
under government control, yeah.
Oh,
Especially
right.
Jaffna.
Yeah. So
Jaffna was under.
where were the rebels based then?
They were
In
like
the
everywhere
north.
northeast.
Ah, okay.
Northeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so more in the rural areas.
Yes. And they were
I
like
see.
in the jungles.
Yeah.
They were not
Right. Yeah. Not in the
yeah,
cities.
not in
Right.
the
Yeah.
cities.
That makes
Because-
sense. Yeah.
And when you look at the Jaffna city, Jaffna city was not affected by the war because nobody, even the military, the army did not bomb the city, or
Yeah.
even the LTT after the captivity from the army, they did not bomb the city as well because they did not attack the city.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to destroy the city. Even the military, while during the LTT was ruling this area, even the army did not bomb or destroy the city.
Yeah.
Because they kept the city intact, you know. Now if you see the buildings in the city, there's nothing, no problems.
Right. They're all intact. Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah. Yeah.
intact.
Yeah. Ah, interesting.
Elsewhere, the buildings like you can see old buildings, old houses was bombed, and you know there are bullet marks or the holes on the walls.
Right. Yeah. So fierce fighting.
Yeah. They did have small because Cessna plane, the small, the big ones, you know, small ones. They had about two or three.
Ah, okay.
But
Yeah.
I mean, they did not attack. Only twice they tried to attack Colombo, but not.
With the planes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
There were,
Wow.
we were playing a cricket match, a World Cup cricket match. Everybody's watching TV. Suddenly, there was no lights, no flying plane.
Oh,
Was
wow.
flying with Colombo.
That was Dilshan. He's another guide with Blue Lanka Travel who's been showing us around. But he was just telling us how this was basically used as a. It was caught up in the Civil War as well. The Sri Lankan army took the city very early on from the LTTE, the Tamil Tigers, and then used it as a base. I think that was fierce fighting though for them to take it. And you can still see bullet holes all around. Across all of the walls, there's just big chunks and little bullet holes here, and what is coral as well. Like they used the coral to build this. But he was saying actually during the war, Jaffna was largely survived intact because there wasn't that much fighting here. Because the LTTE, the Tamil Tigers, largely fought from as guerrillas, so they weren't necessarily occupying cities. So places like Trincomalee and much of the larger cities within Sri Lanka were effectively under Sri Lankan government control. And the LTT fought from the jungles and from the rural areas and the villages and from their own capital, which was just south of the Elephant Pass, as we saw earlier. But of course, a lot of the Tamil population of the city would have left. They became refugees. So it would have been a very empty city during the Civil War. A city under occupation and a city that many people had fled from. Hey, this is nice to see rather than people fighting over it. People attacking these walls. There's now some local lads playing cricket down in the moat, which is nice. They turn this old fortress into a sports ground. Oh, guy just got stumped as well. Yeah, nice to see him playing cricket. They invited us down to play actually, but not sure if we got time. We'll see. We'll see where we're heading next. No train services today. Today train service cancelled. Alright, so we just made a quick stop at Jaffna Central Railway Station. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take a train because there is a train strike on the next couple of days. However, this is an interesting part of the Jaffna Peninsula story because the British once built a train line from Colombo, the capital of Sri Lanka, all the way north to Jaffna. For many decades, over a century in fact, this was the main connection between the north and the south. However, during the Sri Lankan Civil War, the railway line was severed. You could not take a train from Colombo to Jaffna. However, as you can now see, the train station is back in action. So in recent years, they have reconnected the railway line from Colombo coming up here to Jaffna. The line that was severed during the war, it was unrunnable. It couldn't cross from Sri Lankan to Tamil territory, is now becoming a symbol of the reunification of the country. Like in Vietnam, where they have the Reunification Express, which runs from Saigon, from Ho Chi Minh City, north to Hanoi. And now, in the last couple of years, they've been running this train from Colombo back to Jaffna. Now, as far as I'm aware, there are two types of train that run this route. You can take the night mail train, which is the overnight sleeper train, which I think takes at least 12 hours or so to get from here to Colombo. Or you can take the fast express trains, which leave about 11 o'clock, I think. I'm not sure how many there are a day. I'll have a look at the timetable. Yeah, as you can see, it's all being completely redone. It's all new. And yeah, it's a symbol of the end of that war and the reunification of Sri Lanka. So it looks like there's one at 2:15, 11, and 1.
The intercity train journey will take 6.5 hours to reach from Colombo to Jaffna.
That's
Nice.
quite quick.
That's the
Yeah,
fastest
that one is
yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
But
And
there's
recently we built these railway tracks and we have upgraded this. So we can
looks nice.
go 100 kilometers per hour.
Nice.
And 2016 I came to Jaffna
Okay. Was it how you?
From Colombo.
from Colombo.
Wow.
And
What?
that time they had the slow train. So it
Okay.
took 10.5 hours to reach here.
Wow. Was it how you expected it to be when you got here, or different?
Yes, I was nervous because it was the first time.
Yeah, of course.
I'm coming to Jaffna. So I was nervous because I knew that there is a language barrier and I want to taste their food badly. And yeah, it was a quite lovely experience for me coming here for the first time. I was really, really nervous. I knew that time the people here still not friendly or not willing to help us, but it was the other way around. In the restaurants or the places, they
People
were
were
really
friendly, yeah?
really friendly.
Oh,
Really
that's
friendly
so
means they
nice.
don't smile at you, but they will do the help for
Very
you.
helpful, yeah. You find everyone just wants to move past
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wall and yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll have to come back up here and or fly into Colombo and then take a train up here in the future again. It's supposed to be a pretty spectacular ride. All right, guys, so we are back at the hotel in Jaffna now. It's the end of a long day's exploring. Now, I wanted to bring this video to a close, but before I do that, I just wanted to make a point that may have been a little bit missed while we were traveling around exploring the Jaffna Peninsula on the way up here. This was a brutal civil war, and they're still feeling the effects of it now. As you saw at the train station, it's only just recently been sort of reunified. They're only just bridging those divides between the Tamil communities in the north and the majority Sinhalese communities in the south. However, I was slightly worried that I may have portrayed the Tamil Tigers as freedom fighters. They were fighting for an independent Tamil state and for their community, their language, their culture, their history. However, the Tamil Tigers were also prescribed as a terrorist group for a large part of their existence, not in the beginning, but later on when they invented things like the suicide vest and effectively became a one-party dictatorial state who were devoted to their leader, Prakapan, who died on the last day of the Civil War, on this day in 2009. And they tolerated no dissent. They were suicidal, they would fight to the death, and they killed anyone that disagreed with them. The Tamils also expelled large numbers of Muslims from their communities. They fought for very much a very one Tamil state, as it were, and they can hardly be seen as a justified party to rule an independent Tamil state. And the end of the war that ended on this day in 2009, we tried to go to the clock tower where we told there might be some memorials, but we saw nothing was there. Maybe they were there earlier, I don't know. But that last day was a brutal day. The Sri Lankan government, or the last weeks leading up to the end of the civil war, were brutal. The Sri Lankan army would indiscriminately shell their no-fire zones that they'd established, which were supposedly safe havens for the Tamil refugees to escape to. They would escape there and then find themselves just at the mercy of the Sri Lankan army, and it's unclear how many people died. The Sri Lankan army say that casualties were minimal. However, independent reports estimated that tens of thousands died in the last weeks alone of that civil war. But the Tamil Tigers themselves were killing their own civilians who were trying to flee the conflict because they wanted to fight to the death. So it really was a horrific brutal and perhaps even unnecessary conflict that could have been avoided many decades ago if the Sri Lankans had recognised the autonomy of and the rights of Tamils to speak their own language and remember their culture. Sadly, that didn't happen, but hopefully, from speaking to people like Danushka, who had a very balanced opinion of the conflict, hopefully the country has learned from those lessons. Those lessons learned have come at a very high cost. So hopefully they are not forgotten going forwards. So yeah, I'd like to dedicate this video, I suppose, to all the victims of that civil war. However, from a tourism perspective, I would recommend visiting this area if you're in Sri Lanka. Not only is it just developing its tourism industry, so it's a really intriguing place to be, to hear the stories of people on both sides, and to see how those divides are now being bridged, and hopefully what a positive future holds for not just the Tamils in the north, but the whole of the beautiful island of Sri Lanka. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for a little trip to a place called Adams Bridge.